name is Alice Autum Strange, and this is Magic in the Mind podcast, where psychology and spirituality intersect. Today we are talking about life purpose, the misconceptions, the facts, and what you can do if you're currently searching for your life purpose. So many people are talking about finding their life purpose, and it's not a new topic of discussion. And according to research, having a sense of purpose can lead to a longer life, health benefits like better memory, lower risk of chronic health issues, better emotional regulation, and even in some cases, more financial success. Plus, it's well known that when we feel like we're working toward a goal that is meant for us, it's just an all-around good feeling. Some people may feel like they don't have a life purpose, and that's simply not true. It's important to know that purpose can and will change throughout your life. A person's life purpose can be what we often think of in these situations, like running a not-for-profit or being a civil rights activist or raising money for important charities. But life purpose can also be being a good role model for your younger sibling, or it can be to paint art that speaks to people. And it can be to inspire people in your everyday life to be authentic and practice self-love. So maybe we need to rethink what purpose can be. No one purpose is better than any other purpose. And we all chose to come here to this planet for a reason. And each one of those reasons is an individual thread in the tapestry of the universe. Some misconceptions we'll go over. Whether you know your purpose right now or not, it is there, and you are being pulled to it at this very moment. I personally believe in divine timing. Everything will happen when it is meant to happen. We don't know the grand scheme of things, but source, spirit, the universe, God, whatever you like to call it, that they do. They know, and we are being guided by source, spirit, the universe, God, at all times. Some people think your life purpose will only come to you if you work really, really hard and you're going to have to give up things that stand in your way of this life purpose. Throw that bullshit out. That is such a capitalist way of viewing things, and it's just not healthy. When you find your purpose, you will be inspired by it. It will help you thrive. It will bring you joy. Even when things do get difficult, you'll see it as a chance to grow and do more. And in the end, you need to look out for yourself always. Don't put this life purpose ahead of your own emotional, mental, physical well-being. You could say that one life purpose that we all share is to live the best life for ourselves. This is often something people don't consider important, but remember that we are all made of the divine, or what some may say is we are created in God's image. Whatever way you like to say it, we are important. We are special. Each one of us is an expression of source, and that is so valuable and so incredibly magical. So don't take it for granted. As I said before, we will have many purposes throughout our lives. So a little bit about myself to kind of give an example of this point. For a while, I thought my purpose was to create art in ways that felt right to me. And at that time it was. I painted and drew animals, all in a very special way, like from a strange angle or very close up, or using very few lines or in colors that aren't exactly natural. This was just me expressing my animist beliefs and showing that every living thing is in itself magical. And that was my purpose for a while. At another point in my life, my purpose was helping people in crisis and people thinking about suicide. We've talked about this, I know, but working at a crisis hotline was truly a passion of mine, which led me to help with a program working toward a better way to handle crisis line work and treating people with mental health issues better in general. I think now I have a few purposes in life. One of my purposes right now is to be a forever student and a teacher. That's really what this podcast boils down to. It's the whole reason I'm here. I get to learn about things in a deep way, take in the information, use my personal life experiences to interpret it in my own way, and then give it out to all of you in a way that hopefully helps you in some way. Another purpose in my life right now is to be a coach or a mentor. And we talked about this in the last podcast. My goal right now is to begin the first little steps into becoming a life coach or a spiritual mentor. And this is still in its beginning phases, but I want to provide spiritual coaching and mentoring in general, but especially to people who struggle with mental illness and want to better their life with zero judgment from a person who can relate to them. Another purpose in my life right now is bringing light to people who need it, which sounds super vague, but it includes a lot of different things. It's a very wide branching topic here. So for example, I love to hold groups, events in the community Journey to Your Soul that I'm constantly talking about. That's free to join, that you can always find in my description. You can always go there and join. But I hold groups, events weekly for emotional support in a spiritual environment. And there's a learning group I lead that kind of relates to the student-teacher thing. So I get to promote ongoing learning and growth and share my own experiences and my own knowledge and things that I've been able to find amongst other spiritual people, and all of us sharing our experiences with each other and equally learning, supporting, helping. It's a beautiful place. But also bringing light to people who need it. Sometimes this just looks like being especially kind to strangers, giving compliments, or just smiling and sending good energy to people around me. Generally coming less from a place of anger, less from a place of hurt and hate, and coming from a place of love. And if I run into a person that I find very undesirable, I'm just going to send you love. I'm sending you love. That's the best thing that I can do, and I believe that's one of my life purposes. So know that purpose isn't just one thing, and it isn't always going to be the same. People change so much, and it only makes sense that our purposes would change along with us. So if you are thinking that maybe you need to find your life purpose or one of your life purposes, or maybe you just feel like you need a little bit of a goal to reach toward, I'm going to give some tips and some pointers to maybe discover what a possible life purpose could be for you. And this is a very individual thing, very individual topic. And so, kind of look at it in broad strokes and apply it to your own life in a way that resonates for you. Purpose can sometimes come really naturally and just kind of happen for some people, or it can be something that is a result of some real soul searching and hard work looking inward and reflecting on yourself. Difficult times or hardships can often lead people to realizing their purpose. It's a really good driver to want to improve the world if you yourself have struggled. And this is a result of what's called post-traumatic growth. And I love the topic of post-traumatic growth so much. If you all would be interested in an episode about it, put it in the comments or in the what did you think of this episode section. Wherever you're listening, find a way to send it to me. Just give me a post-traumatic growth. Let's go. Let's hear it, because I would love to talk about it. It's such a positive. Anyway, another way people can find purpose is through reflection, self-reflection, really learning about yourself and evaluating things that you've experienced in your life. If you're searching for your purpose, it can be a really unsettling feeling. Not knowing what you're here for or why can feel just really bad. So here are some steps that may help you find your purpose. You can first ask yourself, what is important to you? What are your values? And think broadly. This could be anything from fighting racism to making sure the stray cats get fed, to helping disabled veterans, to finding ways to prevent littering. Whatever it is that you yourself are passionate about, I'm sure almost always there's going to be a way to turn it into a purpose. I know I give lots of examples in these kinds of broad, general topic things. It's kind of something I do on the podcast a lot. I like to do this because my hope is that it will get your mind working. And even if you don't resonate with the specific things I listed, I'm hoping it will trigger a thought in your mind that does resonate. So that's why I do that. And I'm going to do that a lot for the rest of the podcast, just saying. So another thing you can do to help find your purpose is look at what your skills are. Anything you've learned formally at a job or in education, that's something to take into consideration, but also things that you innately are just good at. For example, I found that the work at the crisis line was very well suited for me because I have always had a way with words. Thank you, being a Gemini moon. It's been a while since I bragged about my Gemini moon, but yeah, that's definitely why my words are my strength. I never get tired of talking, ever. So 5 to 8 hours of phone calls was really not too much of a challenge for me. I'm also really good at de-escalation, probably because of my childhood trauma. I had to do that a lot as a kid, but I am also, just innately good at things like conveying emotion through tone of voice. When you can't see somebody and you're on the phone with them, I was able to speak in a way that showed people that I did really care while not being over dramatic and therefore insulting, because it's a very thin line to walk, very careful in that kind of work. And all of that is carried over into podcasting a little bit. The skills I learned at the crisis line also carried over into other purposes I currently have that I mentioned. Another skill I have is that I'm very spiritual and fairly well educated on a variety of religions, but I was raised very, very Christian and was deep in there. So I know a lot of things that help me to really connect with Christian callers at the crisis line. The area I'm from is heavily Christian, and the crisis line was local, so it helped a lot. Just things like knowing the different types of language used by Christians, so I could relate to the caller and meet them where they were, not have to make them understand me. I could just understand them and help them to not have to explain themselves quite as much. I also know a lot of Christian resources like music, books, websites, etc. And I was a mentally ill teenage Christian, and I saw a Christian therapist for years, so I know what kind of techniques are sometimes used. I also can just kind of relate to almost any type of spiritual belief and give advice that aligned with the person I was talking to. So it was a really helpful skill to have. And a lot of people would say, oh, my spirituality, that's not a special skill. Oh, me being raised Christian, that's not a special skill. But it can be. It can be. You can understand people from many backgrounds. And like, that's just one way. That's just one way. You have to be creative. You have to really think on how you can use and apply your skills. Another little thing is I am educated in psychology. So that helped a lot in that line of work, pretty obviously. Skills can be very diverse, and you may not even realize what you're capable of just because of who you are and how you are. If you want, it may help to talk to people in your life that know you well. So if you're struggling to think of your skills, what you might just be innately good at, or things that you're better than the average person at, talk to people in your life and ask them what they think you're good at. What do they see in you that is special? What do you do better than most people? What things come naturally to you? This can help you to self-reflect and therefore kind of dig out a little bit of what your skills are and therefore what you can use to work toward a life purpose. And if you're really serious about finding your purpose, I would highly, highly recommend volunteering in your community. So first of all, go back to the question of what is important to you. What are your values? What causes matter to you? Do you want to help an animal shelter? Do you want to clean up the sides of roadways? Do you want to help victims of assault? Do you want to work with kids? There are endless opportunities, and this can help you recognize what you're good at and what exactly is most important to you. So what I mean by that is if you say, well, yeah, I like animals, so you can go try to volunteer at an animal shelter. And that may be perfect for you. That may be wonderful, but maybe you like animals, but like the medical side of it, or like, something about it just doesn't feel right to you, then and volunteering isn't a permanent thing. You can always do it for a little bit and then just decide like, no, I'm going to find something else. It's kind of just like testing the waters and seeing what works for you. So really evaluate your values and start with volunteer options is my big suggestion. If you're serious about it, if you really are ready to find a life purpose, and there are so many more benefits to this, volunteering helps you build more skills that you can later use for your life purpose or enhance skills that you already have. And it can make them a lot more known to you because you'd be using them every day, or every day you volunteer, however often you do that. And volunteering also connects you with people who care about the same things as you, which is just a whole thing in itself. You could find new friends. Those people can help you to have community around you. They can lead you to more opportunities later down the road. But, and this is a big but, what you are doing needs to feel good. Volunteering should make you feel fulfilled and happy. You should feel like you're making a difference and that your work matters. It does have the same potential, volunteering, to drain you and cause burnout just like a job. Of course, there will always be difficult times, no matter where you're working, what you're doing, where you're volunteering, but you should feel like those hard times, in them, the good outweighs the bad. You should feel like the challenge is welcome and it's a chance for you to grow and learn and become a better person. Or, of course, that's not always possible. In really, really difficult situations, you could at least feel at peace with everything at the end of the day, knowing you did your best and you made a little bit of a difference, or you gave a small bit of positivity in the midst of a difficulty. So volunteer. Reach out, go out there, try your hand at different things, but make sure it's right for you. Don't let it burn you out. Because it will. If you don't love it and it's not fulfilling you, you need to get out. It's not going to be healthy to stay. And we talked about, you are your number one priority. You are your own life purpose. Your happiness is your life purpose. So remember that. The last tip I have for you is, I know it sounds cliche, but focus on the positive and especially practice gratitude. I won't rant on about the importance of positivity because we all know, but it is important. But beyond just focusing on positivity, you need to grow your positivity and positive emotions. And this can be done in so many different ways. Meditations such as loving kindness meditations. I talked about these in episode 4 of the podcast about meditation way back in the day. But we did a little section on loving kindness meditations. And this is a good way to grow positive emotions and just kind of get the positive all spread around you and sending it out to others, receiving it yourself, all of that. Another way to help focus on the positive and grow your positivity is spending time in nature. It can help you just feel more positive. Nature is so healing. We have so much science around this. It's not just woo-woo garbage. It's true science. Nature is healing. And most of all, showing gratitude can really help. It can help highlight what things help you, and therefore you can recognize how you can do the same for others. You see where I'm going with this? If you are grateful for things and make a practice of acknowledging your gratitude, you can see where you've been helped and do that for other people. And this is like a pay it forward kind of thing. So you're paying it forward, but this can also turn into life purpose on its own. And all that aside, gratitude can have so many positive effects on your life. It's just a really healthy practice. It's good for you in a multitude of ways. So I would highly suggest it. In the end, don't focus too much on forcing your purpose because it will come when it is meant to. And practicing these tips can help you move in the right direction, but just know everything is moving just as it should, divine timing, all that good stuff. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the podcast. I appreciate you sticking around. I appreciate everybody's support, especially from my last episode. Everybody really has been wonderful reaching out to let me know how much that episode meant to them. So if you haven't listened to it and you can deal with a little bit of a bummer episode, I would suggest you go listen to it. Otherwise, just be well, be kind, and may your curiosity for this world never fade.